Chapter 8. Geppettia's Gambit. The door to the toy shop opens and Eddie starts the automatic welcome message.
Welcome to Geppettia Collodi's Toys Our Trust.
A sturdy Amma stands in the doorway surveying the shop. Behind her, a little blonde crow peeks out from his mother's legs, clasping her hand tightly. Closing the door, she kneels beside her son and smiles at his awestruck expression.
See, didn't I promise you lots of toys?
She hugs him quickly, before the boy rushes toward the next row of toy animals. He squats to pet a fluffy elephant, already lost in play.
Hello, I see you already found a friend.
Geppettia smiles at the little crow. The child smiles back and gazes over the shelves, caught in wonder over so many toys in one place. Geppettia turns to the child's mother.
I owe you. Deeply.
The serious expression on Geppettia's face cuts into Pris's smile. She nods, unsure how to reply. The older Amma seems exhausted, but strangely energized at the same time.
I am sorry that it has come to this.
Geppettia sighs and walks back to the counter. She motions for Pris to follow.
But we cannot choose.
The surrender in her tone belies her determination. She quickly taps the screen, swiping through a list of files.
Hold out your arm clip,
she orders Pris. Reluctantly, Pris approaches the counter and holds out her arm. Geppettia understands Pris's worries, but she knows how to relax the situation.
You'll like it.
She grins.
It's money. Lots of it.
Pris accepts the data transfer and gasps at the transferred amount. Visions of young Corin and her, playing at the pool of her mansion, pampered by quiet servants serving cold refreshments, and the silhouettes of Evren and Corin, arm in arm, watching from the balcony.
Pris?
Geppettia rips Pris out of her visions of joy.
I know what you think. I've thought the same thing. Just run away, Geppy.
She whispers, bracing her arms against the counter.
And believe me,
she snorts.
With the cash I could squeeze out, I'd be a monarch with my own country, somewhere up in the polar region.
Geppettia tries to make Pris see the bigger picture.
Your son's future will not be as happy when the heat kills everything around him.
Pris again confirms the insane amount of money presented on her arm clip display. Tears of frustration form in her eyes as she silently looks back up into Geppettia's firm gaze.
I know, honey. I know.
Geppettia sighs as she lowers her head, recalling her own personal struggle against the temptation of a comfortable but short-lived escape.
But there is hope, you know,
she adds with a weak smile.
After you stop this madness, the money will still be yours.
She winks at Pris and shares a short smile with her.
Who are you?
Corin's voice sounds from behind a shelf.
I am Pico. What's your name?
I'm Corin. Do you live here?
Yes. Me, Eddie, and my Amma mom.
You look funny.
Yes, I have the body of a puppet.
Why?
I am not a boy. I am me.
I am me too.
Yes, a different me. Want to play?
Are all these toys yours? You must be very rich.
No, Amma mom sells toys to make children happy.
I like her. She's like my Amma mom.
Come, I show you my horse and my tiger.
Pico and the little boy walk hand in hand past the counter and toward the back room. While following Pico, little Corin stops to look up at Pris.
Mom, this is the best place ever. Can I stay here?
Pris nods in silence, holding back her tears. Corin scuttles after Pico, who opens the drapes to the back room. The sight of Pico makes her uneasy, and she tries to control her instinctive dislike for AI. Apparently, Corin already accepted Pico as a friend. Pris exhales deeply. One big problem solved. An unknown number of bigger problems remain.
Cute kid. I'm glad he likes it here,
Geppettia says, waiting for Pris to accept the unusual situation.
We'll take care of him. Don't you worry.
Geppettia reassures her and turns the conversation toward the main issue.
I'm sorry to rush you out of here,
she says.
But time is running out on Evren and her friends. They need you now. I'll send you their coordinates. They'll also need food, water, emergency first aid. Saren is wounded, and maybe some guns. The basics, you know.
Pris nods, lost in thought.
I've got to swing by Parker Street to recharge. With this kind of money, I can get what I want from the black market in no time. Shouldn't take too long. Don't waste your time.
Geppettia warns.
They've got to leave the area as soon as possible.
She urges as she activates the traffic control.
Eddie, keep an eye on police activity.
She advises the AI. Eddie's sonorous voice sounds from the ceiling and Pris's eyes dart to the silvery half-sphere.
Yes, Master.
Eddie responds.
However, due to riot concerns, city police capacity may have been reached. There may not be enough personnel for other missions.
Eddie tries to rationally ease Geppettia's concerns.
Just keep looking.
She replies, slightly annoyed at Eddie's nonchalant view. She grunts and rubs her face intently to clear her thoughts.
Let me say goodbye to Corin.
Pris suggests.
Then I'm out of here.
She walks toward the back room in search of her son. Geppettia nods and gently answers.
Yes, of course. Of course.
Watching Pris kneel beside her son, she admits to herself,
I couldn't do it.
the thought of leaving Pico and maybe never seeing him again is too much for Geppettia to bear. She closes her eyes and a tear squeezes out from her eyelid.
Well, Corin, I've got to go now.
Pris gently puts her hand on his back.
Now? Aw, Mom, can't you stay a little longer? Look, they have noodles and ketchup and
Out of breath, he finds more reasons.
Pico will show me his drawings and we can draw together and
It's okay, Corin.
Pris slows him down,
We will look at the pictures together when I come back, okay?
hugging him. She hides the tears in her eyes, while Pico looks on, absorbing Pris' expression with its large round sensors.
okay.
Corin mumbles resignedly, snuggling his head against her strong chest. With closed eyes, Pris cherishes the scent of his hair one more time.
Your Amma Mom must go and do grown-up stuff now.
Pico tells Corin. He looks at Pris and continues.
I hate it when my Amma Mom leaves me to do grown-up stuff. But she always comes back.
Pico nods slowly at Pris and touches her shoulder gently in an unspoken promise.
Hey, Corin, want to play horse and rider?
Pico suddenly calls out cheerfully.
Dibs on the horse.
He laughs and falls on all fours. Corin giggles and breaks his embrace with his mother.
Bye, Mom. Come back soon, okay?
Corin smiles as he tries to mount Pico's back. Pris gets up and quickly wipes away her tears.
Have fun, sweetie.
She waves at him and marches out of the room. Without pause, she storms past Geppettia toward the exit.
I've got to go.
Pris mutters, outrunning the urge to turn around and stay with her son.
I'll message you.
Geppettia calls after her as Pris opens the door.
Quite a predicament, is it not?
Eddie remarks after Pris left.
Oh, I'm not worried about her.
Geppettia responds with a confident nod.
She'll find them.
She deems Pris's strength far greater than Pris does.
I'm far more concerned about what comes next.
She muses over the imaginary playing board and all its movable parts. Her nemesis did not expect their escape. How would he react?
Your move.
She thinks to herself, drawing power from this mental image.
Somehow, they need to prevent the charge from being either ignited, placed, transported, or produced.
Geppettia clasps each finger individually as she lists the possibilities.
Did I miss anything?
She asks Eddie.
No, Master.
Eddie replies.
However, consider production finished or unstoppable at this point, maybe even transport.
Eddie says,
Factoring in the social upheaval against Winslow's proposal and its temporal proximity to the gods' opening in 3 days, it seems logical.
You believe the god's destruction would shock society into joining Winslow's proposal?
I do not believe, Master.
Eddie retorts.
But yes, that seems probable. Consider also the loss of top-level global administration due to their deaths at the ceremony.
Eddie replies in a neutral tone. Geppettia muses over Eddie's solution, but there is a nagging feeling that she overlooked a minor detail. Accepting Eddie's premise for now, she continues to unravel the technical options.
Okay, then we can focus on ignition and placement. How do you place an explosive charge in hard rock?
She asks her AI.
Using non-nuclear devices, an explosion charge could be carried by a strong crow or ama. If octanitrocubane is used as an explosive, of course acquisition of sufficient amounts of ONC can be quite expensive.
Geppettia listens intently and tries to picture a figure walking through a rocky tunnel, weighed down by a heavy backpack.
Master,
What?
Geppettia growls at Eddie, unable to corral her frustration about their forced inactivity.
there is breaking news about a police clash with Ecos terrorists on the news channel.
Eddie replies and opens a hologram showing a video feed of a landing pad, the same feed that Geppettia used to follow Everin and their friends. Mug shots of Everin, Arya, Raylan, Taryn, and Siren appear on the TV with the headline, Ecos terrorists extremely dangerous.
Why didn't they protect the Winslow name?
Geppettia is surprised that the Winslow family would not shield one of their own from the public, especially against this sort of accusation.
Considering the negligence for Raylan's well-being, his father may deem this tactic to be more useful.
Eddie speculates.
That's what I missed.
Geppettia slaps her head.
Master?
This bastard. Oh, you got me there, Winslow. Nice move.
She mutters as she selects the local maps of the geothermal power plant.
Master, do you mind explaining what moves you are referring to?
He will sacrifice his own son.
Geppettia grimly replies, opening the structural plans of the power plant.
He needs Raylan to come to the plant to prevent the strike. He needs the evidence that his own son, how tragic, and his band of Ecos terrorists are responsible. Winslow, you are one sick bastard.
Oh my.
Is all Eddie has to say, trying to sort this level of paternal cruelty into his memory banks.
They'd be running into a trap.
Geppettia says.
They need to know.
She taps her display and sends Everin another message.
Your pictures are in the news. Include possible trap into planning. Geothermal power plant may be under surveillance. Probable. Winslow wants to present you as scapegoats. Be very careful. Pris is on her way with supplies.
Geppettia hesitates and finishes the message with,
Your boy is adorable.
She lets out her breath through puffed cheeks, turning toward the plans of the power plant.
I hope we find a way to get into this thing.
She murmurs, tapping her finger absent-mindedly on the counter. Geppettia's thoughts are still with her group of outcasts, huddled up at a bus stop with nowhere to go.
We need eyes.
She pounds her fist on the counter in frustration. Motioning at the pixelated view of the bus stop, she snorts.
Not this useless fuzzy video feed. I want electromagnetic bandwidth.
There is a way, Master.
Eddie softly reminds her.
But you once said, I quote, don't you bleep never ever talk to me about using bleep bleep federal satellites, end quote.
Eddie pauses, then quickly adds,
However, under the present conditions, I assume this guideline could be suspended?
Geppettia weighs Eddie's idea critically. Satellite hacking would be the way to go. Unfortunately, the other side of the scale includes detection and 20-plus years in federal penitentiary.
Under the present conditions, huh?
She muses and turns around to watch Pico and Corin play in the back. She sighs and looks up at Eddie.
I guess we'll find no better excuse for breaking the law.
Indeed, Master.
Eddie agrees.
I must caution you, however. Accessing the federal data lines may take some time. If Pico could help me, we'd make a good team. He is very intuitive, and he learned a lot already.
That's a good idea.
Geppettia answers.
Let's see if I can lure the boy away from Pico with some food.
She grins and approaches the back room. Corin looks up at her with reddened cheeks and greets her almost ceremonially.
Hello, I'm a Colodi.
Don't be so formal. I'm Jeppy.
Geppettia smiles. Corin nods vividly and points at Pico.
I know, right? But Pico told me about how grown-ups talk when they like totally not know who the other one is, right? Like not at all.
Corin finishes his meandering explanation.
I see. Well, hello, Crow.
She hesitates and tests the boy.
Oh, do you know your full name, Corin?
Corin beams at Geppettia and replies,
Yes, my name is Corin Suleiman. Corin Suleiman. I think.
He ends with a frown on his face.
Sullivan, maybe?
Geppettia assists his memory. Corin's grin appears out of nowhere and pointing at himself, he beams with pride.
Yes, that's me. I'm Corin Sullivan.
Crow Corin Sullivan. I welcome you to my shop.
Geppettia bows exaggeratedly, causing Pico to giggle.
Welcome me. Welcome me.
Pico demands.
Pico Colodi, I welcome you in my shop.
Geppettia repeats her bow, almost losing her balance. Both kids break out in laughter. Corin notices the missing gender form in the welcome and looks Pico up and down.
What are you, Pico? Are you a crow like me?
Pico shakes its head, looking at its arms and legs.
I don't know what I want it to be when I grow up.
Pico answers honestly.
That's silly.
Corin snorts.
Everyone I know is a ma, crow, or len.
He pouts and looks at his feet, mumbling.
But I don't always know, what the difference is.
Geppettia relieves Corin's unease and pats his shoulder.
You don't have to, Corin. Pico is different from you, me, and everyone. When he knows what he wants, he will decide for himself.
Geppettia explains.
That is useful.
Corin nods, caressing a tiger toy. Geppettia turns to Pico, telling him.
Pico, Eddie says, he needs you for something really important.
She then looks at Corin, rolling her eyes.
Grown-up stuff, you know.
She says.
How about we two make something yummy to eat? While Pico helps Eddie?
Yay! Food!
Corin gets up and drops the tiger to the floor. He looks up at Geppettia with wide eyes and wrings his hands.
Pico said, you have noodles when I'm hungry? Because I'm hungry, right? And ketchup. Can I have ketchup? I've eaten, lots and lots of vegetables today. So I can have ketchup, right?
No worries, little crow. You will get your noodles and ketchup if you help me.
Geppettia grins at Corin while Pico joins Eddie in the shop. What a cute little bugger.
Yeah, I'd do anything for him.